Hey, Jimmy here. Now, I've got a question for you. Have you ever dissected an owl pellet? Do you even know what an owl pellet is? Well, I'm about to show you, and I'm going to show you a really cool hack for how to dissect an owl pellet, even for the most squeamish of people. Okay, hang fire. I've just realised that there may be some people watching this thinking, what on earth is an owl pellet and what is this bloke on about? So just quickly, an owl pellet essentially is the regurgitated remains of the prey that the owl has recently eaten. So usually that's a small mammal of some description, and because an owl's digestive system isn't great at breaking up and burning the bones and the fur of a small mammal, they have to compact it into a nice neat parcel and cough it up. The wonderful thing about that for us is we can dissect owl pellets. Not only is it really interesting, but it gives us a really good clue on what the owl's eating and how healthy the environment is where it's living. Now, one of the things you can do to dissect an owl pellet is use a rubber glove. Or two rubber gloves. Now, the problem with rubber gloves is, obviously, I do a lot of owl pellet dissections, and this is a lot of plastic waste. And so I always find that as long as you practice good hand washing techniques, then you're normally pretty good and you're pretty safe with handling barn owl pellets. Now, not everyone is that keen on handling barn owl pellets though. So this is a little hack that I have learned for those people who don't want to touch it. Now, first of all, what you need is an old jam jar, could be an old marmalade jar, something like that. Give it a wash out, make sure it's nice and clean. You need the lid as well, and make sure that the lid works securely. Take the jam jar, fill it up, 2/3 of water, doesn't matter whether it's hot or cold, and then take your barn owl pellet and drop it inside. Now, put the lid on and make sure the lid is secure. And then all you need to do is just give it a good shake for about 15-20 seconds. Make sure the pellet's properly submerged, and straight away you'll notice that the pellet has started breaking up already. Now, what I tend to do is I'd put that to one side for maybe 20-30 minutes. It shouldn't need much more than that really. This is one that I've done earlier, so you can barely see the pellet in there now because it's completely broken down. Give it another good shake for 15-20 seconds, and I can see there, you probably can't see it that well on the camera, there's loads of bones floating around in there. Now, what you need to do now is, I've got this little tub here and this little net bag here. I think this came from some kindling, but one of the things you can use is an old set of tights. Cut the end off an old set of tights. Now be careful. Take the lid off the pellet, and then what you want to do is just tip it inside the tub like so. Now, of course, a barn owl pellet is made up of lots of fur and the bones. Now, some of the bones have stayed in the bottom of the bag there, but what I can then do by shaking off the excess water as best as I can, you can give it a little squeeze if you want to get as much of it off as possible, then I'll move that out the way. Now, you don't need much equipment for dissecting owl pellets. You'll notice here all I've got is a cheap pair of plastic tweezers. You can get this off online. Obviously don't use your mum or your sister's eyebrow tweezers, that's a big no-no. And a paper plate, just something as simple as that. You can get plastic white trays. I recommend using something white because things tend to stand out better then. And then all you're going to do without touching the pellet is just empty this bag out onto the plate there like that. Now, there might be some bones still in there that you can pick out if you want, and you'll also, as I say, remember I said there was some bones still in here, so what I'm going to do is I'll just scoop them out and with the tweezers, and I don't have to touch anything at all with my hands, and there we go. There's loads of bones already there. Now, put that to one side, out the way, onto one side, and then what I can do now is, without having to use my bare hands, my fingers, I can pick around in the pellet and I can get the fur, any leftover fur, off the pellets. And there we have it, straight away. There's the lower mandible of a small rodent. And you can pick through this bit by bit, finding all the different bones. Anyone know what that is? Small mammal with a pointy snout. That's a shrew skull there. And it's a surefire way of being able to pick through and clean through a pellet without actually having to dig in and get your hands dirty. And it's, even for the most, squeamish of pellet dissectors, it's a really, really good trick to get through. This is the one we've just done there, and you can see it's already starting to break down. So again, just keep giving it a good shake, and it probably doesn't even, well, straight away, it won't even take you 15 minutes for this pellet to break down. Tip it into something fine, mesh, into a bucket, and then you can tip out the contents onto a paper plate or some white card, and then you can pick through it, and then using your identification chart you can start to work out what that barn owl's been eating, and it makes for a fantastic project.